If I'm not overthinking, if I'm not dreaming, you're not listening. You are asleep, and I keep talking off the monologue, and I keep talking off the monologue, and I keep talking off the monologue, and I keep talking off the monologue. Welcome to Off the Monologue. I'm your host, the Welsh kid from the block. Though, if you're family or friends, you'll know me as Erin. Hi, hello. Welcome back to Off the Monologue. It's been a month. I know. I'm sorry. I've probably apologised in 3 or 4 episodes now about not posting, and that's literally my bad. But I'm back. We have another episode already pre-recorded before this one that is planned to come out after this one. So let's hope I can keep rolling. And yeah, welcome to the new scenery. It's the summer in the UK. We're in a heat wave. And I'm sorry. Anyway, enough about that. Today's episode, I'm going to be talking about something I think everybody struggles with. And that, well, not everybody, most people. And that's getting out of your own head. Or in simpler words or terms, how to stop overthinking. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this is because I'm honestly a prime example of an overthinker, especially in year 10 and 11 when it was GCSEs. I stressed like mad over my exams. I literally overthought every exam definitely right before it. That's when it gets worse for me. And I personally think people don't talk about this enough. I'll be sitting there trying to revise, and then instead of actually focusing, my brain starts going off on a different route, starting to say things like, what if I fail? What if I forget everything? What if everyone else does better than me? And suddenly, I'm not revising anymore. I'm stressing myself out over things that haven't even happened yet and things I can't control. And the thing is, overthinking feels like you're being productive, but you're actually not. But in reality, you're just making things 10 times harder for yourself. So the big question is, how did I actually start getting out of my own head? Well, the first thing I started to realise is that overthinking wasn't helping me. Not one bit. It was not helping me for a single exam whatsoever. Never helped. It didn't make me more prepared for the exam. It didn't make me smarter for the exam. It didn't improve my results for the exam. If anything, it made me more anxious, more distracted, and way less confident in my ability on what I can do in that exam. So once I realised those things, I started to do something that may seem really simple, but it actually changed a lot, and that was catching my own thoughts. Like mid-spiral, midway of having negative thoughts in my head. When my brain started going, I stopped and asked myself, is this thought actually useful right now? Most of the time, the most logical answer was simple. No, it was not helping me right there and then. Because thinking, I'm gonna fail, does not help you revise. It doesn't help you to remember anything and everything. So, so it just stresses you out, basically, right? So instead of letting that thought run wild, I'll try to shift it. Not in a fake positive way. Not like everything is perfect, I know everything, but more realistic. Like, I've revised this before, I can do it again. I don't need to know everything, I just need to know enough for the exam. I'll deal with it when it happens. And that brings me to the second thing that has really helped me, focusing on what I can actually control. Because overthinking usually comes from trying to control everything, the questions in the exam, other people's results, what might happen in the future. But the truth is, you can't control any of that. You can only control what happens in the present. But also, you can also control how much effort you put in, how you revise, and whether you show up and try your best. And once I started putting my energy into those things instead, everything felt a lot more manageable. I wasn't stuck in my own head anymore. I was actually doing something. Not the kind. Another thing that helped me though, and this might sound small, the flight is getting on my nerves. Anyway, this thing might be so small, but I was actually taking breaks, like proper breaks. Going for a walk, listening to music, talking to someone, as there's always someone to talk. There was always someone to talk to when I was stressed and overthinking. Just giving your brain an actual second to breathe and gather your thoughts. Because when you're constantly thinking and thinking and thinking, you don't give yourself a space to rest. And that's when everything starts to feel overwhelming and tight. And that's when, the moment you know, you don't have a clear head and my right mindset to revise. Now, I'm not saying I never overthink anymore, because I definitely do. It does not go overnight. But the difference is now I don't let it take over even. I notice it quicker. I deal with it faster. And I don't believe every single thought my brain actually chucks my way. Because it's one of the most, and I can't get my words out. But that's one of the most important thing. Let's restart the sentence. And I think that's one of the most important things to understand. Just because you think something doesn't always mean that thought is true. Your brain is great at imagining worst case scenarios. That doesn't mean they're going to happen. So if you're someone who overthinks, especially around exams or pressure, just know you're not the only one. And also, if it doesn't, and also it doesn't have to stay that way. You can learn to manage it. It starts with noticing your thoughts, questioning them, and focusing on what you can actually do instead of what might happen. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to have everything figured out. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to give yourself a bit of space and a bit of trust. Also, just remember, it's just your brain trying to say, I'm in danger, when you're not. Well, definitely not when you're sitting in an exam. You're not danger then. You're fine. You're safe. Remember, talk to someone, as there will always be people to talk to. Though exams aren't the only things people overthink, I use that as today's example, as it's something I can relate to and give advice on. But I have said can be used to help when overthinking. Some other things people overthink include conversations, relationships, career decisions, big life choices, and money. They are just to name a few. Carl, would you like to shut up? I don't think it does. Yeah, it definitely does not want to shut up. You can overthink anything and everything. I literally mean anything and everything. If you feel like overthinking is embarrassing and feel ashamed of it, you shouldn't. You're not alone. Loads of people overthink. It's natural. As you and thing is with overthinking, right? I used to be so embarrassed because with like exams, right? I was a massive overthinker back in comp, year 10 and 11. When it came to my GCSEs, I was the worst for overthinking. My parents can back me up on this. It was just, I would stress out my mind, and I would get to the point of overthinking, right? Where I couldn't breathe, I could not talk to anyone, because if I started talking, I would cry and I would be 10 times worse. And my legs would shake, my hands would shake. I would almost be sick. I was that bad. And 10, a couple of exams I would have to be pulled out of. And that's when them things started getting worse where I couldn't breathe, my eyesight went blurry as well at one point. That's when I knew I needed to get my act together. I needed to actually figure out how can I stop overthinking? How can I actually be able to sit the exam, be able to sit there and concentrate? Because another thing I overthought a lot in my exams was not only the results, not only will I know every question, not only was it everyone will do better than me, it was if I was sat at the middle or front of our exam hall, I was overthinking that everyone was looking at me. I knew they weren't, but I overthought that everyone and their dog, literally, right? Everyone and their dog, I was like, oh my god, everyone's looking at me. Everyone's trying to see how well I've done. Da da da. When that wasn't the case, everyone else, make sure my mic's on, but everyone else was doing their own exam, their own paper, what they're in there to do, and there was me overthinking, going, oh my god, everyone's looking at me right now. They weren't, but you know, pardon me. But once the symptoms were getting that bad with me, that's when I knew I had to get my life sorted, get my overthinking right back on track. Go, no, what? No, all I can do is my best. All I can do is just show up, try. And once I done that, then coming into college, I've had to resit my English exam. My English GCSE, I've had to resit. This year being my second year resetting. And this year for my GCSE, when I had to go in for the exam, was the first time I didn't overthink. And I did last year, but not this year. And that's because I've gone, right, I failed last year. That's okay. I'm back here. I'm back again. I'm going to make sure I can try my best. That's all I can do. I can show up, try my best, be the best I can be. I revised as much as I could. I tried my damn hardest in my mocks. I tried the damn hardest in the actual exam. And that's all I can do. So now I'm here. I can actually try my best, show up and do. I've done all that I can now up to this exam. Let's go in and try my best. And obviously with me, I knew I couldn't do the middle or back and front. So I spoke with college. I made arrangements. They knew how I was. We made the arrangements. I sat at the back and I was fine. I knew what I was doing. I dealt with it. And Yeah, and I think that's the main thing with overthinking. Once you know what your symptoms are and how bad they get, and then once you found a method of, okay, this is how I can control my overthinking. It's like with college, it's always right, tell someone. If you're like doing exams in like college or uni, or even comp, and it's an exam involved, and you know you're not good with overthinking, but you have a method of how to calm yourself down before, make those arrangements with the whoever, whether you're in college or uni, they can accommodate to you or try their best to a certain degree and help you, and then you can go from there. But as usual, you lot have been amazing listeners on this podcast. This has been Off the Monologue. I'll catch you in the next one. Mwah! I love you all. Thumbnail. Oh yeah. That's actually not a good one for this episode, is it? If I'm not overthinking